Well, welcome everybody to a very exciting podcast episode of Adding the Impact. And I have a dear friend who, has been my coach and mentor for, I think it's about 5 years now. But of course, I've known of the amazing Richard Branson for an awful lot longer than that. But I'll officially introduce him so the rest of you who may not have had the pleasure of getting to know Richard just yet will have a little bit of an insight to his background. He is a 45-year veteran of the network marketing industry and transformational, dribbling over it, coaching profession. He built his own personal team of 30,000 active distributors and owned his own network marketing company for 35 years. He's coached billionaires, Hall of Fame athletes, authors, speakers, and dozens of seven-figure entrepreneurs. He has deep distinctions in sales and recruiting, having worked with tens of thousands of salespeople and prospects. He shared the speaking stage with the likes of Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, Sir Richard Branson, Les Brown, and even Pitbull. He has an amazing gift, his ability to shift one's state of being through his questions and therapeutic listening. He is just truly amazing around that. In his 30 years as a business owner in the profession, he also served on the board of directors for the Direct Selling Association of the United States of America and its ethics committee, pioneering ethical changes in our profession. He is one of the gentlemen of our profession who just holds a greater standard for everyone. And I'm honored not only to call him my mentor and coach, but also my friend. Richard, thank you so much for agreeing to join us on Adding the Impact.
Well, it's an honor to be here, Celine. I'm very excited about this podcast. This is awesome. Great to be here.
Thank you so much. So, I said a lot about, the professional bio and that as well. But can you share something with the audience that maybe they don't know about you? Those who do know you, maybe there's something else that they don't know about you.
Wow. Well, I don't know. Maybe the most unusual thing, I'm a licensed fixed wing and helicopter pilot. Helicopters being my great passion. I also love No Limit Texas Hold'em, golf and pickleball.
Absolutely. I think I knew that you were a pilot of planes. I didn't know that you flew helicopters. So next time I'm over there, we're going to have to go up in the helicopter because I do like that. That is on one of my to-do goals at some stage in my life is to get my license as well. But yeah, and you live between Hawaii and I think I can see at the moment you're on the ranch at the moment as well. So you live, you've got two beautiful homes as well that you spread yourself between during life as well, which is really cool. Really cool. And of course, you're married to the gorgeous Kimmy.
Well, the ranch is, I can actually show people it. This is the ranch. Oh, too much sun out there. Oh, there it is. You can see it. So the ranch is my getaway. It's in the foothills in California below Yosemite. And I only get here a couple times a year for a few weeks. We live full-time in Hawaii. Twice a year, Kimmy cuts me loose to come to the ranch.
You get to live out your cowboy dreams kind of thing when you're doing that. Richard, you have been somebody who has been so passionate about raising the standards of our profession. And our profession, for those who may not be in the direct selling industry who are listening to this, is all around direct sales and network marketing. You have had, as I mentioned earlier on, a hugely long career in there. Over the time, what have been the things that you're most proud of that you've maybe achieved or helped others achieve in that time?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind, Celine, is I am proud and I think kind of rare in our profession. There aren't very many people that have been doing this full time for 45 years that are still doing it, still love it, still promote it. So, and then that maybe to answer your second question, I think maybe what I'm most proud of is the way I have led and coached and guided people to be leaders, be human beings, be a network marketer, is to do it in such a way that it is sustainable, not only for us individually. So many people, the way they pursue, especially a financial opportunity that has no limits. And, you hear all the stories about people making crazy amounts of money. That kind of fuels people to get radical and get desperate and to be in a hurry to see how fast they can make as much money as possible. And so they do two things in that approach to building a business. Number one, they burn themselves out physically, mentally, emotionally. But more importantly, I think, is they burn out their network. They burn out their relationships because the way they're pursuing the business is, what's in it for me? How much money can I make? And if I'm talking to you as somebody that might be a business partner or might be a customer, the way you get burned out in this business is to look at people as, what can they do for you? How much money can they make you? Can I get you to become a customer, and can I get you to become a distributor? And then can I get you to make me a lot of money? That burns us out because it's really negative energy and it's out of integrity. But it certainly burns other people out because they feel the abuse. And of course, we know that most people that we talk to as network marketers, that's an understatement, most, they're not interested. And yet the desperate network marketer, if I say no as a prospect, what I can expect to get from them is an argument. They're going to argue with me about why I don't want to do it. And that just burns people burns out relationships. And so what I think I'm most proud of is, I still absolutely love what I do. I mostly coach, but I still have a network marketing team, and I promote network marketing, and I talk to people all day long about network marketing. I absolutely love it. I'm fascinated with it. It's the most extraordinary wealth building model in a sweat equity model, where I'm not investing $1 million up front, but I'm just investing my work, my relationships, my communication skills into wealth. It's the most amazing wealth building vehicle there is on the planet. And the truth is good enough. We don't have to lie about it. We don't have to hype. We don't have to exaggerate. We don't have to manipulate. We don't have to use people. Celine, that it only takes 3 or 4 people on your team for you to do very, very well. Yep. So you don't have to recruit everybody. Most people, it's best just to let them go and make their own decisions about how they want to spend their time and their money, and what they want to promote, and just look for the people that are looking for you, because they are out there. And that's work for me, and it's work for the people I've coached.
Yeah, I love that. There's a couple of things in there that I'd love to kind of swing back to. I think first of all, congratulations, because you have been a shining light within our profession for so long. And there's, again, I think that people kind of have lost I don't know whether it's the grit or the determination to actually stay in something long term, to actually see the results come. It's like, okay, bring me in, get rich quick. No, that's not happening. Okay, I'm on to something else, kind of thing. And so the bright, shiny objects, instead of actually, I suppose, looking at how can this be something that is sustainable over long term, that actually, again, builds wealth with sweat equity. Like, if you're prepared to put in the work, you're definitely going to get the results. But I want to come back to that word sustainable, because what I know to be true is that it can be that people do burn themselves out. And so it becomes, they blame the business or blame the profession, and then, or they go to something else thinking that it's just going to be easier over there. And that, what has been the thing that you have found has helped people build a sustainable business over time?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is network marketing ought not to be the most important thing in your life.
Yep.
Like, maybe your relationships, your spirituality, your health, then maybe your career or how you're going to build wealth. So I think if we keep our priorities straight, then you don't screw things up. And that's where burnout comes. Is so many people have ruined their finances pursuing network marketing because they just overspend. And even when they start making money, they for their first $5,000 or $10,000 check, they go out and lease a Ferrari or some crazy thing. And it's just irresponsible. It's not sustainable to manage your money that way. It's certainly not sustainable to build the business in a way that alienates your spouse. That's not sustainable. It's not sustainable to work 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, and not take care of your health. So I think if you keep the priorities straight, that's the number one way that you create sustainability. And the second way is I think just what I talked about earlier is we have to adopt the perspective of being a servant leader. Yeah. We have to be patient. We have to be playing the long game. And the long game, this is what I try to impart to my clients is build this for your kids. Build this for your grandkids. I have clients that are third generation sales leaders. Yeah. What that means is their grandparents built the income. They passed away. His lifespan 50, 60, 70 years ago was 56 years. Yep. They passed away. Maybe they started building when they were 50. They passed away at 60 or 65 or 70. And then the children got the income and they got the business. Maybe they built the business or maybe they just spent the money. But then they eventually passed away. And now my clients are 20, 30, 40 years old and their grandparents built the business. This is legacy income. This is almost looking like old money. Right. And what I think about, and I ask people about, is imagine, so I'll just take you, Celine. So imagine if you started off in life at age 20, 21, maybe when you graduated from college, imagine that you had a $5,000 a month income, a residual annuity income, a base that you knew from history was never going away, like an inheritance. Yep. Now what I want you to think about is map out your life and the decisions you made, the moves you made, and ask yourself, what decisions would you have made differently? And how much better off would you be if you had that base throughout your life, health-wise, relationship-wise, wealth for sure. And I mean, I think about in my 20s, how many decisions I made out of desperation. What if you didn't have that? So if you have people think about the long game instead of, how much money can I make? When can I buy my first nice car? When can I buy that fancy home? Think about the long game, and it'll give you patience, and it'll give you grace, and it'll give you gratitude.
Mm-hmm. I love that word gratitude because, and actually all three, patience, grace and gratitude, because sometimes I think that we can forget when we're in the midst of it and we are kind of, hearing all of the stories around, this person's making that or whatever. We can kind of do this whole comparison thing. But I think that gratitude around consistently having $500,000 dropping into your bank account every single month, consistency. I think that we forget the power of that, what that actually would mean. A little bit like what you said there. It's, if you knew, okay, that was going to keep on coming in and also eventually, quite possibly when you passed away, you got to will that income then to that next generation and the next generation. That coming in consistently. I know in today's economic environment, if people knew that they had $500 to $1,000 dropping in bank account every single month by just doing the fundamentals, that there would be an awful lot more gratitude for what the profession actually offers, the ability to be able to do that. I know that that's something that, you have talked about a lot, about just thinking about what would you need to do outside of this profession to have that type of money dropping in every single month. And that's hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank to be able to earn that in interest, for example.
Yeah, and that's the wealth building part. And that's the part of network marketing that's always fascinated me the most is when you build a team, a sales team, and then with every distributor or brand partner comes customers. So if you have a sales team of, like my sales team was 30,000 active distributors, but I had hundreds of thousands of customers. They each had customers. And so I'm just one person, right? Out of all of these little tiny, like flickers of light, which are income sources. I mean, it's kind of like, okay, I'm a McDonald's franchise owner, but I also own 100 McDonald's franchises. And so I get a little piece of all those 100. Then it doesn't really matter what you do personally, because these people are all buying the product and building their business for their own reasons. And when you spread your income out over hundreds of people, that's when it becomes residual, because they're all income in network marketing comes from people who love the product. And all legacy income comes from people who love it so much, they're usually on some kind of auto ship, right? They're on a subscription. They're getting their product every month. That doesn't mean they do it forever and ever and ever, but new people are coming into the system every month. If you build a team big enough, that income is residual. And when it's residual, like I can count on it every month, no matter what, whether I'm working the business or not. And I'm not promoting the idea of, build it in 4 years and then go sit on the beach and just collect the checks. It's kind of like owning, maybe a bunch of rental homes, right? You build them up, you get them all paid for, they're bringing in all this rent. But if the hot water heater breaks, you got to go fix it.
Yes.
If somebody moves out, you got to bring somebody else in. You can't just ignore your homes. You can't ignore your business in network marketing. But the income does come in because it's customer based and it's spread over so many people. And when the income is set up that way, then it is wealth. Because as you said, Celine, to get $1,000 a month coming in every month because it's spread over a bunch of customers, you'd have to have $100,000, $200,000 in the bank.
Yeah.
And how long does it take for any of us to save and invest $100,000 or $200,000? Most people never do it, and if they do, it takes decades.
Mm-hmm. So true, and I think that's one of the things that we can forget. I want to take a little pivot now, because I know one of the things that you're truly passionate about, I have seen you in action, not just with myself, but with others, is transformation, really helping people to transform through your mentorship, but also just through some of the questions that you ask. And you've written a number of books. For Your Career is one that many people may have heard of. The other one that I actually really, really love, because I love how you implement it into then the mentorship and coaching, is Mac 2. When you're working with someone, and that, because really, to be able to be successful in any profession, not just direct sales or network marketing, but in any profession, a lot of it, the game is played in our head. It's about the stories we tell ourselves. It's that whole transformation. When you're working with people and mentoring and working through helping them to transform, what would be some of the key questions that you would ask people? And so somebody's listening to this, where would you start with that journey of transformation?
Well, the first question I might ask is, what do you want? And, that can go down a lot of rabbit holes. What do you want? What do you want in relationships? What do you want in health? What do you want in wealth? What do you want in play? What do you want in reputation? It can go a lot of different places, but what do you want? Because although desire is not a sustainable energy for accomplishment, it is how we dial in our GPS. It is what causes us to look and want to go in a direction. And so, that's where goal setting comes in, which is an important skill set. But goal setting is really just dialing in the GPS coordinates. It's like if you walk up to a ticket counter, the ticket agent is going to ask you, where do you want to go? And if you just say somewhere warm, you're not going anywhere because she's not going to sell you a ticket. You have to tell her exactly where you want to go, or him. And so that's goal setting, right? We start there. That's like, okay, what direction? And then what I will ask is, maybe some questions like, okay, well, how long have you wanted to go there? And, a typical answer might be a long time, or, okay, and how far along are you? And so these are just quite basic questions. If you could sort of look at them graphically, it's, okay, here's where you are. Here's where you want to go. How far along on the journey are you? And in most cases, if I'm coaching somebody, they're not as far along, or they're not along at all. They may have not even gotten started, or they got started and then they got off track. And so now I will dial into, okay, when I ask how far along are you, well, let's put some metrics on that. Let's quantify that so we can get a really good look at where exactly are you. And when we get that data, then I will ask a question like, Celine, what do you think is missing? And my style of coaching is different than a lot of people think of a coach. I'm not a coach that tells you what to do. I coach a lot of different people in a lot of different domains, and I don't know. I coach you in your business, and I may have ideas, and you and I brainstorm about ideas, but I'm not running your business. I'm not making those decisions. You actually know what needs to be done. All I do is ask those questions about, okay, are you getting it done? What do you think's missing that you're not getting it done, Celine? And you're going to tell me, right? Yeah. But you're going to tell me circumstances, usually. Yeah. And what I'm listening for in all of this is I'm listening for the story. Because the story is the sustainable motivation. Actions in and of themselves are inconsequential for this spiritual being. You and I and everybody out there, we can do anything. We can do anything we want. So let's say you want to lose weight. You already know how to lose weight. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about everybody, right? All of us know how to lose weight. It's not rocket science. Eat less junk. Get active, right? Calories in, calories out. It's just that simple, right? So we know what we need to do. We're just not doing it. So then I'm going to ask, okay, what's missing that you're not doing it? And in there is going to be a story. And then all I do is call the story out. This is what I hear. The story is that the story? And I might not have it right. You might say, well, it's kind of that, but it's more like this, right? But sooner or later, we're going to get to what's the story? And if you and I are not propelling along our path at a pace that we're happy about, it's just because our story is not aligned with doing what we need to do. You could use network marketing as a perfect example, because not everybody in network marketing, but seasoned people in network marketing that have been around a little bit now, they know what they need to do. Yep. And if they want to advance and build a team, well, it starts with you have to tell your story to people who aren't on your team yet. You have to tell your story to people who aren't using your product yet. You have to tell your story. This is network marketing. How it works is we are marketing to our network. It's word of mouth. It's storytelling. It doesn't happen by advertising. It doesn't happen. The only way it happens on social media is if you tell your story on social media. You have to tell your story. So I can coach somebody in network marketing in 5 minutes to what's missing. What do you want to do? Oh, I want to hit this rank. What do you need to do to get there? Oh, I need this big a team. How many people do you need to be talking to every day to do that? Oh, quite a few. How many people are you talking to? Well, not enough. What's the story? And there's going to be a story that's going to sound something like whining, right? Like, I try, but I get so busy, and everybody I talk to, they don't want to, and nobody will call me back. And the 3 people they all quit, and whiny. Okay, well, whiny doesn't produce $1,000 a month. You need a different story. So
everybody's probably laughing that's watching this at the moment, because we've all been there. We've all had the story about whatever goal it is that we say we want. And when we dig in, and if you've ever sat in the hot seat with Richard there, he's going to dig down to find that story. And it's true. Oftentimes it is literally us just making excuses as to why.
I was raised on this ranch, so I have a really keen BS meter. Who'd have thought ranching would make you a great coach?
It's absolutely. And so, I mean, you actually hit the nail on the head there, because I think that, for those really in what we get to do, there's only a couple of things that we do that we have to just do consistently. And that is reach outs, invitations, and follow-ups, reaching out to expand our network. Because you said what we do is market to our network. Invitations to have a closer look. So that's another one, sharing our story, our product story or our business story. And then following up with people. And that's it. It kind of, it can actually seem like there's so much more to do. But that's the fundamental, that's the maintenance. That's really what it is about, that once we start to build our business, we're doing that. Then we can continue to do that in a sustainable way. And what I've seen, I suppose with the onset of social media, I think what I've seen is that people are trying to hit too many people at once and not end up doing any of the follow-up. So they put out a post or they send out 100 messages. But in that 100 messages, it's a little bit like a scattergun. You're hoping that you're going to hit somebody instead of intentional kind of conversations. Have you noticed a shift yourself? I saw you kind of nodding your head there as well. Do you kind of feel the same over this last, say, 10, 15 years of our profession?
Yes, for sure. Social media is an amazing technology. It's just allows you to reach so many more people, but it also is a curse. It has a deep, dark side. And one of it is that right there on your phone, and, we might as well have a headset with the phone right in front of our face, right? Just dangling. Because people are just staring at their phone 24/7. And what they're mostly staring at is they're not looking to learn how they could be better at social media. They're looking at who is better than them at social media and getting depressed about it, and then getting frantic about it. And they see somebody that, is maybe really good at entertaining or educating on video and getting all the likes and all the responses and all the views or whatever it is. And we see so many of that we get depressed. Now, what people do, one of two things when they compare themselves to other people and the other people are doing better than them, they either get depressed and get out of action, or they get reactive and competitive. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I'm gonna be as good as that person. I'm gonna get as many views as that person. And that kind of motivation is destructive. I know competition, when we're kids, we're taught, compete. And competition can be a healthy thing, yep. But somebody always loses in competition, right? And not everybody wins. In fact, if there's only one winner and there's a lot of people competing, there's 99 losers for every winner. And that's not healthy for the 99. And so I just choose collaboration over competition. And social media is not collaborative. It creates a competitive environment. It could be collaborative if we use it that way, like in groups where we brainstorm and stuff. But yeah, I think, and the other thing that social media does is it pushes us all into the digital world, the virtual world. And even though it's, we're right there, you're hearing our voice, you're seeing our picture, it's not what network marketing was designed to do. Network marketing was designed for one human being to be face to face with another human being, telling their story and imparting an energy in that space, that 3 feet that they're standing apart, the voice tone, the facial expression, the energy, the enthusiasm. It's infectious. And that's what causes people to lean in and want to learn more. Maybe the best way I can explain it is, if anybody's ever virtual dated, and I think something like a third, I don't know about in Australia, but about a third of the marriages in the United States start off online. So we're dating online, okay? Well, how far can you get in connecting with another human being online? Might sound crass, but you can't even get to first base. Right? You can't get anywhere, right? Okay, we love talking to each other and we love seeing each other on video, but contrast that to the first time we get off an airplane and we run and engage physically. The comparison is not even comparable.
No.
And that's what social media and the internet has done to network marketing, is it's sent us all over the world, trying to date people all over the world, and we can't even get to first base with them because it's just digital.
Yeah.
And that's, it has its upside, but it has its
and
downside.
I'm sure there are probably some people listening to us at the moment and kind of going, oh, they're just a pair of old fogies. What would they know? Whatever like that.
I got 160,000 people on Facebook. I'm not an old fogey.
Exactly.
We're doing this interview on digital internet. We're totally hip.
We totally are hip. However, do you know what though? The thing is, the reason we've actually had this long-standing relationship is actually because I knew of you for years and years and years, was following you, read your book, and for your career, I'd given it to my team, the whole works kind of thing. But when I met you face to face that time in Queensland, that was then when the relationship built. When you, when you offered to spend that day just mentoring for no other reason other than you wanted to serve, that's what built the relationship to then, absolutely, we connect, every 2 weeks at least kind of thing. You'll be on one side of the world, I'm on the other, but I've also been over in your home in Hawaii and all of those kinds of things. But it started because of a relationship. I look at that person to person, how deep it's been able to go has been because of that. I watch when I've just come off an 18-city tour, people in rooms together, or when we get together at conferences. It's literally like long-lost family coming together and sharing the energy transfer that we're talking about. What I love about social media and technologies like what we're using now is it does give us the ability to be able to connect with more people. However, even in something like this is a conversation. I was on an online event last night. It was great. It was really good. People were sharing their stories, and it was a beautiful community. We could see one another. We were there. But it's moving. It's making sure that we move into that physical opportunity to connect one-on-one, or into, if it is something like this, whatever like that, but we're actually having a conversation. We're getting to know people rather than just messages. It's that next level of transformation, both of yourself and of the relationship that you're trying to build. So I just think that it's so important that we kind of, we shift in there. So we talked about in that transformation, starting off with what do you want? And for those of you who are watching this, thinking about those questions in your life, what is it that you want? What do you truly want? How far along the journey are you getting? Have you gotten so far? And, if not so far, why? What's the story that you've been telling yourself? And then starting to build into there. When you go from there, I know that you run mentorship programs and coaching calls and all those types of things. What's the best, like with something like that, I know that's there's an opportunity to be able to go to mentorship.richardbrooke.com, and we'll make sure that we put that in here. But that to me is how you add the impact. You add the impact in every, you always over deliver. You give way more than what anybody would ever expect. But what is it that you love about those particular programs that you run? Because you do weekly calls and all sorts to be able to help people move forward. And what is it that lights you up about that?
Well, I'm live coaching people twice a week for an hour, and it's kind of interesting. There can be a lot of people on the call or Zoom or video, whatever it is, and I'm only coaching one person. And everybody that's watching gets coached vicariously through that one conversation. And that surprised me that would happen. But it really does. I mean, people are moved to tears, and I'm not even talking to them. They are having breakthroughs about their own business strategies and their own stories because they see part of themselves in whoever I'm talking to. So I love that aspect that I can talk to one person and have an impact on a large number of people. And historically, my coaching, when it was one-on-one, this is an advantage of technology, right? My one-on-one coaching, it was just me and the client. Nobody even heard what we were talking about. So the client maybe got the impact, but other people didn't have the impact. And of course, in order for that to work, the people being coached have to be willing to share and be vulnerable about what's missing and what they're not doing. And so we create a very safe community of people that champion each other and love each other and support each other. And they admire the courage of anybody that stands up and say, okay, I'll engage with Richard and tell my story. And so that it's sacred. The trust is sacred, and it's a beautiful thing. And I absolutely, I just love that. And the other piece that I love about it, Celine, is, I do a lot of programs, teach a lot of things, but they're kind of boxed in by two. One is I teach the basics of network marketing. I basically teach people how to get in momentum. And how I define momentum in network marketing is you have more people joining your team than you can keep up with. Yep. You're in a little bit of chaos and a little bit of overwhelm because the popcorn is popping. And that's not making a lot of money. That may not even be making $1,000 a month, but it is the beginning of something extraordinary because of the exponential growth in network marketing. And just to be clear, the rule that creates that is everybody in network marketing, every customer, every brand partner, every distributor, whatever you call them, they can duplicate. They can enroll other customers. They can enroll other distributors. And that's what creates that exponential growth, where if you have 4 people and they each get 4, not that it ever works mathematically like that, yep. But when they duplicate like that, if it was 4, well, now you have 16 on your second generation, and then you have 64 and 256 and 1,024 and 5 generations of people, and you only enrolled 4. That's so magical. And the beginning of it, the spark of it, is just getting in momentum. And most of the people that I'm teaching there are relatively new. They don't have a team, or their team is small, or their team is any size, but they've been out of action. They went south. and their team has started to decline, and they're stale and they want to reboot. And I have a system that I teach where people can do that in a sustainable way, where they don't burn themselves out, they don't burn out people they know, and they can do it in 15 minutes a day. And that's kind of the network marketing thing. And it's all based on this book, The 4-Year Career, and philosophies about how to do that. And then what I bookend it with is the personal development, transformational development part, because in network marketing, we generally set goals bigger than we would outside of network marketing. We're setting goals to make an extra $1,000 a month. I mean, who that is working in normal jobs sets a goal to increase their income $1,000 a month? I mean, most people get a 3% annual raise, right? So in network marketing, people tend to set ambitious goals. And it's a people business. So you're leading people. You're leading people by asking them to take a look. You're leading them by telling your story. You're leading them by asking them if they want to get involved and encouraging them. That's all leadership. But in order for us to lead at a level that moves people and is worth more money, we can't have a personal bad story. We can't have a story personally that I'm not enough, or no one listens to me, or there's something wrong with me, or I'm not smart enough, or I don't have enough education, or some kind of childhood story. So the other part of what we do twice a week is we're also working off of this book on, okay, well, you're doing the work, but it's not working. So what's missing there? Perhaps it's who you're being while you're doing the work. And it's kind of falls on that cliche of who you're being is so loud, I can't hear what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're always working on raising people's leadership up, raising their self-esteem, raising their confidence, raising their motivation, raising their fire, raising their vision. At the same time, we're teaching them how to do the fundamentals of getting momentum. And it's fun.
Yeah, I love that. And I love and I'm not going to give it away because you got to show up if you want to actually get all of the wisdom from Richard. But one of the things I do love, and I often ask myself, who's driving the bus? Who's in there? Who's in the driver's seat? Am I being the toddler or the petulant teenager or whatever? And, you get working with Richard, you just get to be able to really see yourself in some of these faces. And we all do it. Some mornings I get up and I'm definitely a petulant teenager. People call me on it very nicely. That too. But that's the thing. You actually get to be able to see what's the stories that are playing and then what are the things that you can be moving towards. I love that. What are you excited about in the future as you kind of go, continuing to add impact to the world around you? What are some of the things that you're excited to continue doing?
Probably the biggest frontier for me, Celine, is working with people like you. You brought it up, so I'll expand on it. But so, here we are, the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. More importantly, we're the CEO of thousands of people's dreams. Thousands of people are counting on you. They're counting on you for yeah, well, they are, right? Yeah. It's different than if you were the CEO of a $50 million company that sells some product off a website and people buy it and you sell a lot of product, right? But you're the CEO of a community, a village of thousands of people who they're counting on you to lead them along that journey so they can get what they want. So their dreams, right? And sometimes, not very often in your case, but sometimes there is a 5-year-old who's acting like a 5-year-old. sitting in that big desk. And that doesn't work. Yeah. Right? And so I get to work with some other CEOs like you. Some are running, small companies, medium-sized companies. Some are running billion-dollar companies. And yet it doesn't matter how big the company is. Still, some days there's a 5-year-old sitting in that CEO chair. And I really love working with people like you. That's my favorite thing to do. I don't make much money doing that. The money is in coaching the masses. But there's so much leverage of working with people like you, because if the CEO or owner of the company can get it right, then the impact is staggering on the number of people who move forward with velocity because you're getting it right. And it's easy to get wrong.
Yes.
And it's because if you're being that petulant child today, you don't actually know it, right? We're just a little too close to the forest to see the trees, and we can make a lot of decisions. We can make a lot of phone calls, send a lot of emails, have a lot of meetings before we realize, oops, that little brat is running the show. And I don't know, that's where I have the most influence and impact, I think, working with owners and CEOs like you.
And it's just so true, because it is the flow-on effect, and it's often, the impact that you'll never see, but it will actually happen because of the work that you're actually doing with, the likes of myself and other leaders around the world too. So it is amazing. Alrighty, well, as we start to wrap up, I've got some rapid fire questions for you to ask as we go. So, if you were to give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
To avoid train wreck after train wreck after train wreck? Let me think. Yeah, I would have to say be more fiscally responsible, which in layman's terms is spend less frivolously, or more precisely, less ego-based expenditures. It would be fascinating to me. I don't think I could do it forensically, but it'd be fascinating to me to go back and add up all the money I spent on ego-based things. Yeah. Cars, homes, travel, hotels, meals, champagne, Rolex watches, right? I got to tell you a quick story, Celine. I'll be real quick. So at the height of my income as a distributor, $40,000 a month in 1982, that's like $200, $250 a month now. And I'm only 28, and I'm an idiot. 6 years earlier, I'm cutting chickens up in a chicken plant. And 4 years before that, I cheated to get a 1.9 GPA in high school to get out. I'm an idiot making $40,000 a month. In today's money, $250. So me and a couple of other guys that were making too much money, we went to Oklahoma City. We had to go there for a meeting. But Oklahoma City has this super fancy cowboy Western store. $2,500 cowboy boots and $5,000 buckles and $1,000 hats. And we're business people, right? We're not cowboys. But we went in there and we each dropped probably $5,000 or $10,000 on ridiculous stuff. And I, at the time, was living in Chicago. So I have on these blue anteater skin cowboy boots this great big belt buckle that had a $100 gold piece in it, in an eagle's claw, and a Stetson hat. Don't ask me what I was thinking. I needed you, Celine, to bring me back to earth. I get on the airplane from Oklahoma City to Chicago. I put my Stetson. Of course, I'm in first class. I shouldn't have been, but anyway. So I get off the plane. I go to the curb at O'Hare Airport, and I'm standing on the curb waiting for this buddy of mine to come pick me up. And I'm in a blue $3,000 suit, 3-piece suit. That was another thing we spent crazy money on. But I got these blue anteater boots on and this big belt buckle and this Stetson hat. And this lady walks up to me and she looks me right in the eye and she says, "Are you a real cowboy?"
Fake it till you make it.
And I thought, oh my God, how ridiculous do I look right now? But if I could add up all the money I spent, Celine, and then I could show my net worth along the way because I didn't spend it, even half of it, the decisions that would have allowed me to make different would have radically changed the trajectory of my life. And so I think that's number one is I would coach the young me all about transformation and goal setting and vision and motivation and accomplishment.
Yeah.
But I would, most importantly, try to talk some sense into me about money, which is not about money. It's about ego, which is about low self-esteem.
Absolutely love it. I think it's such an important message for for everybody. Right over time, I'm the same. I was kind of giggling to myself, thinking, "Gosh, same in some areas," kind of thing. But it is actually seriously a really, really important message. Is get right with your finances. Think about your spending and that. Awesome. What's the second one? What's your favorite book right now?
Oh, my favorite book is an Audible, and I haven't listened to it in a few weeks. It is The 4 Principles of Execution. And now you're going to ask me who wrote it, and I don't remember.
I'm going to look it up, and we'll put it in the show notes anyhow, but I love the sound of it. So it's really cool.
It is not about network marketing, but boy, does it apply to everything we do. Big time.
Awesome. What song or music do you listen to when you need to feel motivated?
It sounds kind of corny, but I actually love inspirational lyrics and soundtracks, but inspirational lyrics. And, most music is not. Yeah. Most music is just the opposite. But, there are certain recording artists that they write to inspire. They write to uplift. They write to motivate. They write to build belief. They write to build optimism and gratitude. And they're not the most popular songs, but I love listening to anything like that. And, my favorite, I watch movies more than I listen to music.
Yep.
But I gravitate to any movie that has a heart-to-heart connection that is uplifting.
Yep.
And, love stories. I love love stories too.
Oh, you soft romantic.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
What's your favorite quote?
It must be what's on the back of my business card, which is why it's on the back of my business card, and I'm looking for one. I'll paraphrase it. It's by Winston Churchill, and it goes something like, every once in a while, we all encounter the truth, but most of the time we just shake it off and go on about our way.
Mm.
Winston Churchill's movie, any movie on the life of Winston Churchill, is amazingly inspirational. He was a train wreck of a human being to be around, politically and personally. But his gift for oration, speaking and writing, is something to behold.
Mm.
He was a master, and he worked hard at it. He was a master at wordsmithing to lift people up and inspire them, which he did for the country of England to fend off the Nazis.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I know there's been many different quotes over time from him. So I'll definitely, we will find a quote too, and we'll also put that into the show notes as well. Richard, it has been an absolute honor. I have to say, it really has been amazing. And James actually put the quote in there: "Man will occasionally stumble over the truth, but most of the time he will pick himself up and continue on." There you go. For those of you who are wondering, that full quote there, we'll put it into the show notes. Thank you, my friend. I really, really appreciate you for just the wisdom you bring to my life, but through our podcast today, the wisdom that I know that you will definitely have imparted to many others. May you continue to add impact to the world around you for many, many years to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Celine. I'm so excited about this podcast. You're going to interview some amazing people and have a huge impact for everybody that listens. I love you and I respect you and admire you. Only you and I know how much courage you display. Mick, of course, knows how much courage you display every day to lead people to the promised land. So thank you for being my friend.
Thank you.